How is everybody? Happy Saturday. This is Shauna Lum. For those of you who are new, welcome. I show Americans how to permanently move abroad, and I'm so excited to share with you in this newsletter and in this video, very short video, some insights that I recently got for you guys because I was in Italy for a while and I wanted to share with you, bust some misconceptions in this video, as well as show you possible routes for you to move to Italy, as well as show you some cities and also pricing that you can expect to pay in Italy moving abroad. And this is at any stage of life. If you work remote, if you are planning to retire, if you want to change a pace, this is going to be for you. And Italy is such a great place to move to. So before jumping in though and sharing all the secrets, if you're seriously considering a move abroad in a year, shortly after, join me next Saturday. I'm hosting a live masterclass on November 2nd. And it's basically, I'm sharing all my secrets and strategies on how to make your move abroad in under a year or shortly after. You can sign up below this video or in the email where you found this, okay? And for those of you that can't make it live, by the way, there is going to be live Q&A. So definitely come, bring all your questions. We're going to be talking moving to Europe and Latin America. So if those are on your radar, definitely come. There is going to be a replay, okay? So sign up, you'll be able to access the replay again. Okay, so let me tell you about how it was doing a scouting trip for y'all in Italy and spending some time there. I just got back. I was actually there for my best friend's wedding. So that was amazing. That was in Tuscany. But in this video, I want to bust some misconceptions while we're at it too. I'm actually learning Italian and I already speak Spanish fluently because I normally live in Spain. I have permanent residency there, and I'm getting my citizenship by descent for Czech Republic through my grandfather, which will give me EU citizenship. But let me bust this misconception. A lot of people think, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to move abroad? I'm now an adult and I don't want to have to learn another language. Don't worry, because in the major cities in Italy, they speak English very well. I was actually very surprised. This is my fourth or fifth time to Italy. I've been many times. I was so surprised that they're actually better at English than Spain. Okay. Spain major cities as well are pretty good at English, but I think the Italians emphasize learning it more in school. So you will not have a problem. And also I want to bust the misconception that you can't learn a language if you're an adult. That is totally not true. I have so many students in the Move Overseas Now Academy that learn the language at all ages. I've also lived in France, and one of my teachers who was 65, she learned it at like 55, French. So it's totally a misconception that you cannot learn a language later on in life. Okay. All right. Let's also go to, okay. So those of you that do want to move to Italy, let's first, before I talk about some cities, and I want to share my screen and show you some pricing on what it's like renting a place and some of my top picks for you guys. Some visas that you can go in on. Okay. One is the digital nomad visa in Italy. This is new. And the second one is the elective residency visa. The digital nomad visa will be more for remote workers, people that have their own businesses who work remote for a company. And the second one, which is the elective residency visa, that one's going to be more for retirees or people that have passive income. Okay, so let's talk about both of these really quick. We're not going to dive into the full complete checklist, but I'm going to show you the most important things, the most important requirements, so you know if you qualify for this or not. So the digital nomad visa, first off, is for highly skilled workers. What does that mean? A highly skilled worker is somebody who carries out a highly qualified work activity with the use of technological tools capable of allowing them to work remotely, both as a worker, self-employed. Okay, so if you have your own business or you're freelancer, or as a collaborator, or as an employee of a company, even if you're not a resident in Italy. Okay, so you must prove an annual income of 3 times the minimum level required for exemption from healthcare participation expenses. So that means it's between 28,000 euro per year to 30,000 euro per year. In US dollars, that's 31,200 US dollars to 33,400 US dollars. So let's just round up and we'll say it would be great if you could show that you're making 34,000 US dollars, okay? Now, the exact amount may vary from consulate to consulate. So that's why I did give you a range. Some consulates are going to change. And that's kind of the annoying part about moving abroad is consulates are not consistent in the different cities in the US. So if you don't meet the minimum income requirement, you must also get a private health insurance plan for the duration of your stay. Also, people who have gotten approved have actually recommended to show 2 to 3 times that amount to just show a stronger application. Now, if you can't show 2 or 3 times that amount, that's totally fine, but it's recommended if you can, because there are a lot of people applying for this and it's getting a little bit saturated. So the other thing that's a requirement is you must prove that you've been a digital nomad or a remote worker elsewhere for at least 6 months previously. So you have to have a track record of at least 6 months of doing your job as a remote worker, okay? The other thing you're going to need to show, which this might disqualify some of you or some people, is you do need a bachelor's degree. And you need 3 years of relevant professional experience in the field. So this requirement in itself will actually make a lot of people not be able to apply for this. Rental contract. You also need a rental contract, and it's actually not that hard to get a rental. Don't freak out about it. I'm going to talk about getting a rental later for digital workers or for retirees or people with passive income. Okay. So that's a summary of the digital nomad visa. You apply through the consulate, and I dive way more into it on the masterclass next Saturday. So definitely sign up for that, either below the video or back in the email. And I also talk about it more in the Move Overseas Now Academy, which is my program to show you how to move abroad. Let's talk about the elective residency visa. So the elective residency visa is, we mostly see retirees applying for this because it is based off of your passive income. You cannot work on this visa, okay? And now both of these are pathways to permanent residency and citizenship. So that is why I'm sharing these with you, because they are the easiest routes to get you into the EU and Italy, okay? So with this elective residency visa, you do have to have a minimum of that you're making of 31,000 euros per year if you're applying alone. If you're applying with as a married couple, you need to show 38,000 euros per year. Okay. Now, showing more is typically recommended as that is the bare minimum. Okay. You want to look the best in front of the consulates. You apply for this in the consulate. The passive income visa, which is called the elective residency visa in Italy, passive income, what does that mean? So that's pensions, annuities, income from properties. Let's say you own property in the US and you have rental property that you can show on the application, or investment funds. Okay. That's what passive income means. So it cannot be like, oh, I have a business and I'm currently working, because you're not allowed to work on this. So if you're currently working, then the digital nomad visa is going to be for you. This is also great for people who want to retire early, who can show that passive income. Okay. The last thing you're going to need, that's the most important for this elective residency visa, is a registered lease. Okay. Or if you bought a property in Italy. And we're going to talk about how you guys can get rentals in a second. Okay. So those are the two visas. Now, let's say I want you guys to know, though, if you don't have to apply for visas, if you have potential Italian ancestors. Does anybody have Italian ancestors? And feel free to share this video with anybody you know that has grandparents or great grandparents that were from Italy, because guess what? They can apply, you or them can apply for citizenship by descent in Italy. And here's a pro tip. Right now, if you apply in the US through the consulates, the wait list and the time it takes for you to get approved is like 2 to 5 years, which is crazy. but you don't have to apply in the US. You can actually go to Italy if you have ancestors that are from Italy and apply from for your citizenship by descent in Italy. Yeah. And it only takes about 6 to 8 months. You go in on your with your passport as a tourist. So a lot of people don't know this, but that is a route that I'm recommending to all my students who are Italian, of Italian ancestry, who are in the Move Overseas Now Academy. So, and what's the benefit of you having citizenship by descent? Well, pretty much that you don't have to apply for visas. If you're an EU citizen, and for those of you who've got EU ancestors that came from Europe, this could be a potential route for you to get citizenship so that you can reap the benefits of all the European Union because you don't need to get visas. You can live in any of the member states, any of the EU member states, and you can work. You can go access public education and the workforce as well. You can get jobs in any of the EU countries. So that's the benefit. If you get Italian citizenship, for example, you can move to Spain, Portugal, France, Denmark, Germany. You can move anywhere that you want and work there, live there, retire there, be a resident with no visas. Okay. All right. So now we've covered that. Let's talk about the places I went and let's talk rural versus city area. So for those of you who you're a little bit nervous about learning a new language when you're moving to Europe, in this case, Italian, if you live rural, now that's fine, but you are going to need to learn Italian because nobody's going to speak English. I'm sorry. Maybe the pharmacists in a rural town in Tuscany, like they were pretty good at speaking English, but city will be your best bet if you want an easy transition. The other thing about living rural versus city, public transportation is not going to be as good as in the city. The city, you do not need a car, but if you're, in a cute town in Tuscany, in Chianti or something like that, like you're going to need a car. Now cars are a lot cheaper in Italy, but you will run into that not issue, but you will have to then go get your driver's license in Italy after the first year because you can get your from AAA, you can actually go and get your international driver's permit, but that's only going to be good for a year. So you can rent cars for that first year on that international driver's permit, but then it's recommended to go and get an actual driver's license. You have to go to driving school, do medical exam, eye exam, a visual simulation test. The EU requirements for driving are very intense, and typically they want you to drive manual, so stick shift for the test. Okay, let's talk about. So the first place I went to before I went to the wedding, because the wedding was in Tuscany, I flew into Milan and then we rented a car. So I know how to drive stick shift because I've lived in Spain for uh, the past 7 years. Okay. So I was actually taught by my boyfriends. My boyfriend, who's my husband at the time, who's my husband now, but my boyfriend taught me when I had first moved there how to drive stick. So, anyways, Milan and north of Milan is very nice because you once you go north of Milan, you're getting closer to Switzerland. It's a little bit more cool, but it's a great quality of life with nature. So we actually went to Lake Como because I've been hearing so much talk about it. I wanted to see for myself what it was all about, and I want to break down some misconceptions. There's some misconceptions that a lot of parts of Italy are super expensive. Now, that is only partially true. If you are trying to get villas on Lake Como, where all the rich people, all the famous people have their like mansions, okay, I'm not telling you to go rent or buy a place like that. And that's not majority of you that are listening to this. That's not going to be what you want to do. So let me tell you first a little bit about Lake Como. It's if you've never been there, it's an enchanting destination. It's a real contrast from southern Italy's beaches that are like amazing. But Lake Como has breathtaking natural beauty. Okay, it's this lake amidst these green mountains. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's like a postcard perfect town. And there's such a vibrant culture. It's one of those places, and I truly felt this when I was walking through all the towns around Lake Como because they have ferries that are super cheap and you can hop around to different towns. I honestly like had to pinch myself because I couldn't believe it was real. Okay. But if you live in those little small towns, I don't recommend that if you have disability issues because they are these some of these towns are on like switchback roads that you have to climb. Like if you're gonna walk, you can take public transportation, but the towns scattered around the lake, I would not recommend to live in if you are just moving there, unless you are very adventurous, because it's a trek. You need to have a car if you live in those smaller towns. But the actual town of Como, Como, that's where you should consider moving to. And let's talk renting. Like I know a lot of people want to buy. I don't recommend that you buy your first time moving to Italy or any country. Okay. That first year, you need to see what, if you even like the city that you're deciding to move to. What you don't want to buy a place if you don't know if you're going to like it. Okay. So renting is definitely what I recommend doing because it allows you to see the place and know if you like it. So you should rent for the first year, even if you do want to buy. So, you might know Como because of George Clooney, the town of Bellagio. He's got like romantic villas on the coastline of the lake. But the actual town of Como is wonderful because it's not hilly, it's flat. So people with disabilities, especially growing old, like you will be fine. You've got everything there. You've got trains, you've got public transport. It's cute, it's quaint. Prices prices to eat out are like a little bit more expensive than the rest of Italy, but like grocery store rental prices are not that bad. So let me actually share my screen and show you guys what it could look like to rent an apartment in the town of Como. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen here. All righty, share. There we go. All right, so in the actual historic center of Como. So this whole area right here, you can find like a two-room flat for 1,800 euro per month. Look at how nice it is. A lot of them come fully furnished, by the way, and utilities are included. You just have to kind of send messages and see. But let me kind of just show you some example flats. 2000 a month, 1867. Okay, there's a studio here in the historic center, which is 850 euro per month. So that's around like 950 US dollars. I mean, that's super nice. Look how cute the area is. And just know that when you move to Italy and Europe, you're going to have such an outdoor lifestyle. Like you're not going to be home that much. It's everybody goes out. They walk, you have friends, you have dinner dates, things like that. Two-room flat, two-room apartment, 1,200 euro per month. That's awesome. Look how nice this is. Very modern, very, very modern. Okay. So this is the quality you can get with 1,200 a month. This one has a huge balcony. This has 6 rooms. It's 1,700 euro per month. That's ridiculous. And look at the street that it's on. It's beautiful. 1,300 per month with two, it's a two-room, two-bedroom apartment. 1,400, super, super modern, as mentioned before. All right, so this one looks like it's got sea views. This one has an elevator, 1,250 euro per month. You can see the photos here. I go to idealista.it to find some of these. Now, let me show you like some other, if I go on the map view, look at how many places are available. This is a two-room flat, which is right, forget where this one is, but it's 800 euro per month. And it's a two-bedroom. Pretty modern. Look at it's even got this like terrace area where you can eat outside and views of the mountains. I mean, that's unheard of, right? So this is kind of what I wanted to do is help you kind of like bust these misconceptions about price. Okay, let's talk about our next city. And in terms of pricing, I'm going to be talking about pricing in Europe and what you can be expect your expenses. what you can be expected to spend. More on the masterclass next week for all of you who want to move to Europe or Latin America. I'll be sharing those prices on the live masterclass. So definitely come, make sure to sign up. The link is going to be below this video or back in the email where you found this video, and it's completely free. All right, let's talk about Milan. So living in Milan, again, Milano, it's a city center, so it's going to be very, very city-like, but you have everything there. So it's the leading financial center, and it's really known for manufacturing. It's a commercial city, obviously fashion. It's a fashion hub. It's known for its Duomo di Milano, which is this huge dome church. It's the world's largest Gothic cathedral. It's known for the opera house, their galleries, museums, and the food scene is top notch. So, for example, I'm gluten-free and also plant-based. They've got so many options in the city center. Como had some actually, and I was really happy about it, but Milan is going to have a lot more. Okay. Let me share with you some of the prices you can find for renting in Milan. I really like this website. For if those of you want to move to Milan, spacist.com. It has a really good database of apartments for rent for leases. Okay. So this one is a 2-bedroom apartment in the city center. It's 950 euros per month. This one as well is 950 a month, and it tells you if utilities are included or excluded. And it tells you, like, for this one, for example, it would be an additional 200 euros for utilities, but also not super crazy to be in the city center of Milan. 850 per month, and this is a condo, so there's going to be 100 euro per month in condominium fees. And then here's like another example of a 2-bedroom apartment with 1 bath. Really nice. I really like that wallpaper there. And typically these come fully furnished, 850 per month. And the other thing is you can always get a roommate. So that's another thing. To save money, you could always find a roommate if you'd like. So that's what I wanted to show you about Milan. Let's go to the next city. All right, let's talk Florence or Firenze. So that is where we went. We were around that area for the wedding because my best friend got married in Tuscany. Florence is the capital city of the Tuscany region, Italy, which the best wine comes from. It's known for many things, including outstanding art, Davide, the statue of Davide. I'm sure you've heard of it by Michelangelo. It's Renaissance architecture and distinguished cultural heritage. The most famous landmark is the Duomo. So, kind of like Milan, it's got this huge dome cathedral that is gorgeous that you can see pretty much from all parts of the city. And it's just illuminating the city skyline. Let me show you again, this is a major city. I don't want, like, another misconception is that, oh, it's expensive. Now, if you go to a touristy place, it's expensive, but food prices were great there. All across Italy, a cappuccino is 2 euros. Okay. And when you go to Italy next time, make sure to try, there's a type of espresso. It's called ginseng. So ginseng, like the ginseng root, they mix the ginseng root with a coffee and it's super sweet. Delicious. Try it next time you go. Let me show you some prices for Florence, and I think it's going to really blow your mind for renting per month. There's a studio in the center for 450 euro per month, and it has an elevator. Okay. You have other studios for like 550. Now, this is, I filtered by like lowest, so I could show you that Italy doesn't have to be super expensive. 650 per month for one room. This one's super modern, 650 per month. It's really nice. Very, very nice. 700 euro per month. And Florence has great transportation. This one is on a beautiful street. Okay. 750 per month for this studio. Let's see this one. This is a penthouse. Okay, that's nice. 750 euro per month fifth floor with lift. It's got an elevator. Amazing. Sign me up for this penthouse, please. It's amazing. Very, very cool. All right. This one is a penthouse. It's a two-bedroom. You have a beautiful view of the cathedral, and it's 800 euro per month. Furnishings could be better. So you'd probably want to decorate it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I am and was just blown away by how inexpensive it is in Italy. So if that's something you want to do, is move abroad to Europe, Italy is a must to check out. The other ones that I always recommend to people is Spain, Portugal, and France, because similarly, they don't have to be super pricey and they have great visas. I'm going to actually be talking about how you guys can move abroad to Europe and Latin America on my next live Abroad in a Year masterclass. So definitely grab a free ticket. You can grab it below this video or on the email that you got to arrive to this video. You can sign up there. There will be live Q&A, so come with your questions. There will be a replay if you sign up. So can't wait to see you there. Let me know in the comments of this video if you have any questions, or feel free to hit reply on my newsletter and I'll be happy to answer anything, or just come on to the live masterclass and bring your questions and I will answer them live. All right, guys, so excited for you, and keep up the work with the move abroad. You can totally do this. I moved abroad in 2016 to Spain, and it was the best decision I ever made. And now I help tons of people move abroad and accomplish this dream that is really scary. So see you soon, and see you on the next live masterclass.